That's a violation. New constructions must be approved before breaking ground.
Lady, I don't belong to your HOA.
I never thought I'd end up in a war with an HOA, especially one I technically didn't belong to. I moved to Pinewood Ridge 3 years ago, right after retiring from 25 years of running a small construction business. I'd always dreamed of owning a quiet place on a lake, somewhere I could fish in the mornings and build things in peace. And after a lifetime of saving, I finally found it, a quiet, 2-acre lakefront lot on the outer edge of a massive planned community. The listing even said it clearly. Outside HOA jurisdiction. Perfect. I had no interest in committees, meetings, or anyone checking the color of my mailbox. I just wanted peace. For the first 6 months, that's exactly what I had. I built a small cabin, cozy pine siding, green metal roof, stone chimney. Most days it was just me, my dog Ranger, and the sound of water tapping the shoreline. But peace doesn't last long when an HOA sees something it thinks it owns. And that's how Pinewood Shores HOA came barreling into my life, uninvited. It started with a knock on my door. A sharp, irritated knock. The kind that already sounds like trouble. When I opened the door, a woman stood there with a binder hugged against her chest. She had sharp eyes, clipped hair, and an expression like she already regretted needing to talk to me. "Good morning," she said tightly. "I'm Pamela Stroud, president of Pinewood Shores HOA." I blinked. "Morning. I'm not part of Pinewood Shores." Her smile didn't move. "Well, that's the thing. We believe your cabin falls under our extended jurisdiction." I almost laughed. "Ma'am, this land was advertised specifically as not being under an HOA." Her smile vanished. "We've reviewed our historical maps, and we believe this parcel is common-controlled land. So you'll need to submit your structure for compliance review." "I built this myself," I replied, puzzled. "It's already done." She frowned, like I'd broken some unwritten law. "Well, that's a violation. New constructions must be approved before breaking ground." I couldn't believe what she said next. "You'll be receiving fines starting next week. You may dispute them at our monthly meeting, but construction is still subject to HOA authority." I stared at her. "Lady, I don't belong to your HOA." She closed her binder with a snap. "We'll see about that." And with that, she walked back toward her shiny white SUV, which, I noticed, had the HOA logo on it like she ran Homeland Security for the suburbs. Ranger growled at the tires as she drove off. I patted his head. "Yeah, boy, something tells me this isn't over." Within a week, I got the first letter. Violation, unapproved structure, fine, $2,500. Then another. Violation, unapproved roofing material, fine, $1,000. Then another. Violation, unauthorized landscaping. Landscaping. On my yard. Which wasn't even in their community. By the fourth letter, I knew this wasn't a misunderstanding, it was an attack. When I called the number on the letter, the receptionist answered cheerfully. "Pinewood Shores Compliance Office." "Yeah, hi," I said. "I'm calling about the violations you keep sending me." "Oh. Are you Mr. Logan?" "Yes." She sighed. "One moment, let me transfer you to the president." "Of course." Pamela's voice snapped onto the line instantly. "Mr. Logan, you must bring your property into compliance. The board has already determined." "Pamela," I cut in, keeping my voice steady, "your HOA doesn't include my land. Stop sending me fines." "That's not accurate," she said, sharp as a blade. "Our community master plan extends past your driveway. You are a member, whether you agree or not." "That's illegal," I said. She scoffed. "You're welcome to challenge us in court. But your fines will continue until the matter is resolved." She hung up on me. I just stared at the phone. That's it, I muttered. Now I do have to fight back. The next escalation came in the form of two men in suits walking onto my property like they owned the place. I was installing a new wooden dock when Ranger started barking. When I turned around, the taller man raised a hand. Mr. Logan? I'm Attorney McLennan, representing Pinewood Shores HOA. This here is my associate. I wiped my hands. Can I help you? He handed me a thick envelope. This is a formal notice. You are required to cease all work on the property until your building plans are reviewed and approved by the HOA Architectural Committee. I raised an eyebrow. Architectural Committee? I'm remodeling a dock. Any structure, temporary or permanent, must be approved. This isn't your property. He gave me a cold smile. Our records say otherwise. And my records say your records are wrong. The shorter attorney looked uncomfortable. Sir, if you refuse to submit plans, the HOA may pursue an injunction. I leaned on my shovel. I'll make this simple, leave my land, or I'll call the sheriff. The taller one smirked. You don't own the land, Mr. Logan. The HOA. Oh, I own it, I said. And I'll prove it. I took out my phone, already dialing the sheriff's office. The attorneys exchanged looks, then left. That's when I knew something bigger was brewing. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering every document I owned. The original purchase contract. The plat map. The county GIS parcel info. The boundary survey. And even the archived planning commission notes. Every official record said the same thing. The HOA boundary ended 400 feet before my land begins. There was no ambiguity. No loophole. No extended jurisdiction. They were lying. Or at the very least, pretending I was free real estate. I drove to the county office myself. The clerk, an older guy named Ron, looked everything over and shook his head. Nope, he said firmly. Your land is not part of Pinewood Shores. Never has been. Then why do they keep insisting it is? He sighed. They've been trying to expand their authority for years. Wouldn't be the first time they've misinterpreted boundaries. Misinterpreted. Right. That's when Ron pulled something else from the file, something I hadn't seen yet. Now this, he said, tapping it, is interesting. It was an email, one Pamela had sent the county months earlier. Requesting annexation of my parcel and 3 others. Annexation. Essentially, let us claim this land. But the county denied it. Which meant Pamela knew she had no authority. And she tried anyway. I felt my jaw clench. That's it, I said. Time to go to war. When the next HOA meeting rolled around, I showed up, not because I belonged there, but because they insisted I did. The room was packed with homeowners. Pamela sat up front, looking smug, prepared to embarrass me. Next item, she announced loudly, property compliance violations for Mr. Logan. Some people turned to look at me, confused. I stood. Before you continue, I said calmly, I need to clarify something. Pamela narrowed her eyes. We're not granting you the floor. I ignored her. I am not part of this HOA. A murmur spread. Pamela slammed her binder. Our records. Your records, I said, lifting a manila envelope, include an email you sent requesting annexation of my land. The county rejected your request. A ripple moved through the room. Pamela's face went pale. My parcel, I continued, is outside your control. And every fine you have issued is illegal. People began whispering. A man stood up in the back and asked. Pamela, is this true? Did you try to annex private land? Her jaw tightened. That isn't relevant. It's extremely relevant, I said, opening the envelope and pulling out copies. Here are the county maps. Here's the denial letter. Here's the recorded plat. I laid them out on the front table. Pamela snatched one and scanned it, hands shaking. This is. She stuttered. A clerical error. A clerical error that cost me $7,300 in illegal fines, I said, and weeks of harassment. The room was dead silent. I took a deep breath. And I haven't even filed the lawsuit yet. The look on her face. Pure panic. That's when I knew I had won. By the next week, all my fines were rescinded. The HOA board called an emergency vote. Pamela was removed as president. And the new board reached out to me directly. They apologized. Profusely. Not only that, they offered a settlement to avoid legal action. A full refund of all fines plus $15,000 for damages and legal fees. I accepted. Because honestly, I wasn't interested in dragging this out. I just wanted my quiet lakefront life back. Pamela, on the other hand, no one's sure where she went next. Rumor has it she moved to another subdivision 3 towns over. I hope, for their sake, she learned her lesson. Sometimes I sit on my dock in the evenings, watching the sun sink over the lake, Ranger curled at my feet. And I think about how close I came to losing the peace I worked so hard for. You know, there's a saying. Bullies only win when you stop standing your ground. HOAs can do good, when they stay within their boundaries. Literal boundaries. But when someone gets power hungry. When someone thinks rules don't apply to them. When someone thinks your land is theirs. That's when you have to fight back. And if you're armed with truth, patience, and a well-organized manila folder, you'll win every time. Know your rights. Know your land. And never let power, especially unearned power, push you around. Sometimes the best revenge is simply proving them wrong.